So, Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door has now released on the Nintendo Switch. A lot of people seem to be very hyped about this game. Review scores seem very positive for it as well. It's using a new graphical engine for it that breathes a little bit of more life into the game. But of course, that's not really the focal point of the game anymore. Everyone's talking about an alleged secret within Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door Remastered that points to the Nintendo Switch 2. Well, that, and they're talking about Vivian, but I'm not going down that Vivian road with you guys. Whatever you want to do with that, do with it. It's not for me to talk about. But this other thing is a bit more interesting because overnight, it's pretty much just exploded in popularity, with many people pointing to this being a Nintendo Switch 2 feature. And I'm kind of looking at this from an Occam's razor standpoint. Kind of like the most logical reasoning is probably the reasoning. So, does Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door Remastered have a secret in it about the Nintendo Switch 2? That's what we're going to talk about in today's video. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. But here is where it is basically stemming from with this whole situation. A Twitter user or X, whatever you want to call it, by the name of Ribshark, who you can find at social.rib. Oh, I'm not saying that word, but Ribshark put this tweet out there yesterday that obviously started to get very popular. Other people were talking about it as well. And it basically says the following: there seems to be code for handling 4K resolutions in the new Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door remake. No idea if this is normal for Switch games or not, but I thought it was interesting. So right off the bat, I enjoy this reporting because obviously this is something that they're just saying, hey, I'm not sure if this is a common thing, but it does appear that there is some sort of 4K thing going on with it. And when you look at the data mining here, you can see that this is a 4K resolution, the 2160. I don't know why we don't call it 2K, but whatever. And then, of course, you have the standard 1080p here. And then, of course, you have the 720p here. So these are different resolutions that are kind of programmed into the game. So seeing that 4K resolution makes a lot of people think, hey, this is a backwards compatibility feature for the Nintendo Switch 2. I'm going to be able to play this game at 4K on the new Nintendo Switch 2. I'm just going to be able to pop it in there. It has backwards compatibility. It has free game updates. But does it? Let's scroll down a little bit here. I was vague about this because I have no idea what this code exists for. So let me clarify. This does not confirm anything about a potential Nintendo Switch successor. 4K screenshots from other games have shown up before. This could be a development leftover or something else entirely. So let's go back to this here. We're doing some investigative work here because we already know what the technical specifications of Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door are on the Nintendo Switch, thanks to Digital Foundry. The game runs at 900p 30 frames per second in docked mode and 680p 30 frames per second in handheld mode. Now, the Nintendo Switch handheld screen is, of course, a 720p screen, so, that's not a huge dip in terms of the visual fidelity of the game or anything like that. But the game natively does not run at 1080p. So I go back to these numbers here. Well, this is a 1080p number. This is a 720p number. And we've seen that the game itself does not actually run at those metrics. Like, that's confirmed. That's factual. So why would these things be involved with this coding? And I go back to what the gentleman said, Ribshark said, about the potential of it being something completely different. And we take a look at this video here from the Crossing channel, which I guess does a lot of Animal Crossing stuff. This was done 2 years ago. This video is from 2 years ago, around June. So it's really coming up on almost 3 years ago. But they say Animal Crossing New Horizons 4K update teased. And in this video, they show this screenshot that was posted on June 6th of, I don't know, I guess 2021. I guess that would make sense. 2021, that shows a screenshot done by Isabelle herself, I'm completely sure, of the Animal Crossing Twitter account. And when you look at this image, you could see here that it's kind of a 4K image. So we're looking at these images here, we're upscaling and, zooming in on them, and there is the 4K visuals on this. But did Animal Crossing ever get a 4K visual update for the Nintendo Switch or the Nintendo Switch Pro? No, it didn't. And there are other games that are Nintendo games where the screenshots of the game were actually done in 4K. However, the Switch itself doesn't do 4K games. I remember Mario and Rabbids, the newer one. I forget, the name escapes me right now, but the latest one. When that game first was showcased and the screenshots of that came out, I remember several gaming journalists, who I will not name, saying that this was a next generation Switch game, that this was not possible, the visual fidelity seen in the screenshots, because the screenshots that came out were of 4K resolution, saying that this was not possible on the standard Nintendo Switch, and this must be for a Switch Pro or a Switch successor. And what happened with that? Nothing. So what am I taking away from all this? Am I completely, saying that this is not a thing? There isn't going to be backwards compatibility with the potential for 4K visuals? No, I'm not going to say that, because there is indeed a chance. If we go back to the time frame of something like Animal Crossing, I mean, that was the Switch Pro days, and by all accounts, it does seem like the Switch Pro was indeed an actual thing. Just COVID came along and it completely ruined all of that sort of stuff, to where they just decided to do a Nintendo Switch OLED with a better screen instead. I still think they should have done a Switch Pro. I think they would have given them more time to, mitigate to a Nintendo Switch 2, but, that's just my personal opinion on the subject. Now, could games around this time from like 2020 or 2021, could they have some sort of 4K stuff baked into them because of the fact that Nintendo was planning on releasing a Nintendo Switch Pro? I mean, there is that sort of potential, but until that potential is sort of realized, I don't think it's fair to automatically assume that a lot of these games are just going to run at 4K, especially considering the fact that we're already hearing rumors about Breath of the Wild getting a 4K 60 frame per second update for the Nintendo Switch successor. That doesn't really feel like that's going to be just a free upgrade that you pop it in and it automatically does it. It definitely seems like it's going to be potentially a new release. But I have to ask this one question before we sort of close the book on this, because I don't necessarily think that Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door is hinting at a Nintendo Switch 2 backwards compatibility upgrade path with just the cartridge or your digital purchase of the game, but there is that little bit of potential. But what does it matter? I'm pretty sure everyone got mad at me when I was like, oh, it's kind of weird that this GameCube game is only 30 frames per second and the original was 60 frames per second, and people got mad at me about that. They're like, oh, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. So why would it matter now? Why would it matter now that we're potentially getting a higher visual fidelity? That doesn't matter, right? Like, it's just so weird to me. It's so funny how, like, when there's the potential for better visuals in a first-party Nintendo game and there's like a leak tied to it, it's awesome. It's the best thing ever. But when you question why a game releasing in 2024 isn't hitting certain metrics, especially when these metrics were hit on previous hardware, it's like you're just a hater or something like that. No, I'm just not a Nintendo YouTuber. You want happy stuff? There's a million happy Nintendo channels for you that will suit your needs. I'm not one of them, because I'm not a Nintendo YouTuber. But let me know in the comment section down below. Do you think this has anything to do with the Switch 2, or is it simply just with the screenshot thing like I just showed you for Animal Crossing, and there are other games like that on the Switch that have done the same thing? And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and share. Hit the bell as well. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Later.